You think these companies like they would have it this stuff like figured out, or YouTube would just make an app like this to stream?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Trailer Park Live right here on the 2nd Street Marvel, where we're coming at you live every single Friday night, typically at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I planned on going a little bit earlier, but we had some technical difficulties as I was trying to get things set up to bring on our very special guest tonight. We're going to be talking about a few things going on out there in the world. We're going to talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes, the new Star Wars series, as well as just some of the other things kind of surrounding this pop culture property that we all enjoy so much. Well, I guess not all of us, but I guess we'll get into that. Let me bring on my guest, LB. How are you doing tonight?
Good. What's up, man? I'm glad to be back in the trailer park. I got my drink in my cup. Hoping
Yes.
Myrtle don't pull up on me.
I'm sure he's hanging around here somewhere. He's hanging around here somewhere up to no good.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you so much for being here. I was sitting here before the show thinking like, man, it's been a while since we've got together, but it really hasn't been. But I guess it has been in having a conversation, I guess, more than just talking about nerdy stuff.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I can't say that we've really even ever got together and talked about kind of more serious subject matter anyway. So it'll be a good night. It'll be a good night. And I think one of the things is, like, I mean, as we'll kind of get into the conversation here and everything, is just, I don't know, just the thing that, like, my thing is, like, I think when it comes to all this fandom stuff, like, there's, we all enjoy this stuff out there. Some people seem to not enjoy it, but are still watching and consuming these kinds of things. And there's no reason that anybody shouldn't be able to come together and enjoy these things and have a good time together. And it seems like there's plenty of people out there that don't really want that to happen either.
At all.
But, and I think that another thing is, like, a lot of times we get into these kind of conversations. And like, I know you've been on with Ashley and Chillmonger here recently. I think you were on with Biggerford as well, talking about some of the things we'll probably be getting into tonight. And there was definitely something in one of those conversations you were having that I wanted to get in a little bit more to here in just a while. But before we do that, I want to say thank you all to everybody who is here. Thank you for your patience as we were delayed here getting this live stream started. I see we've got some great people here, like Star Wars MCU OG, Jedi Mike, Random Bread Creator, Daniel Fisher, as well as Obi-Wan the Homie. Got Justin Simone in the building. And let's see, we've got Reefer Man Reviews, Eric the Guapo stopping by as well. And guys, Aaron from Strange Marvel Theories is here as well. And guys, if you aren't subscribed to the Lonely Banters channel, there is a link down in the description where you can go and check out his channel and subscribe and check him out. Check out his videos, see what you think. But again, apologies for the delay. It was totally my fault. It definitely wasn't LB's fault, trust me. But I guess let's start right off with what were your thoughts on what were your thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi, these first 3 episodes so far?
Man, I'm loving it. I'm enjoying watching this. I feel like I'm right back in after the Clone Wars ended. Ewan McGregor's doing a great job. He's right back. He's right back in the role. I don't think he's missed a beat. I I don't have many complaints. Like my I think my biggest complaint so far is the music. I'm having a
Yeah.
good time, man.
Yeah, that the music has definitely been interesting. And I think where I really noticed it was in this last episode. As we got into this last episode,
Yeah.
I'm just saying like there's something like just like the tone feels completely wrong through the different parts of this, particularly this episode. It really stood out, and I think where it really started to stand out was like the point where Darth Vader gets there onto they are on Tatooine, right? Yeah. They're on Tatooine. And wait, at that point, are they? I don't
Man,
think they
I don't
are.
know. Man, to be completely honest with you, in Star Wars, every planet is either Coruscant or Tatooine to me. Every other one, I don't know.
Right. Hey, there you go. There you go. Well, there's Camino too. They got the water
Yeah,
planet.
well, I know Camino when you see it, but the rest of them, Tatooine or Coruscant.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the music has definitely been questionable
Yeah.
at best. Um,
Did you see the Amazing Spider-Man 2, right?
yes.
It reminds me when Electro used to come onto the screen and his music played. Like it just took you out of the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Kind of jarring, and in
Yeah.
that sense, I mean, I guess we could even talk about Okay, yeah, there we go. Could even talk about, say, like what one of the things that takes me out of this series as well so far is they're using this thing, the volume, this soundstage thing that they've got.
Yeah, you had an issue. No, I wouldn't say you. We both had an issue with Mandalorian both seasons and in the Boba Fett. I did feel like it was better in this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I mean I can't prove it, but I'm willing to bet they have a higher budget for this compared to the other ones. But you could still tell that they're on that soundstage thing. But I do think it's better than the other shows. It doesn't like look so obvious to me.
Yeah, well, and for me, like, it wasn't even really like the first couple of episodes. Like the
Hmm.
first couple of episodes were just fine. It was like it seemed like everything bad that could have happened during a production probably happened in this episode. Because like for me, the volume, like this thing that really stuck out through the biggest part of the scenes, which was the fight there with Darth Vader and everything, like all that outdoors stuff. It throws me off every single time, especially when they do the nighttime stuff. It just looks
Yeah.
it looks too fake, and like it was really jarring in this episode 3, and I'm just like, oh man, like I'm not really feeling it. And then because by that time I'm feeling that way, and then Darth Vader's coming in and all the like some cool stuff is happening. I'm like, like it's taking the edge
You,
off. It's taking
you
the
know,
edge off of it.
now that you mention it, I'm sitting here thinking, and it's like I'm willing to bet that area where Darth Vader was at, like when he showed up and did all the stuff to the civilians. I bet that's the same area they use for like most of the Mandalorian episodes and the Boba Fett episodes. Like
Probably.
they just
Yeah.
made it dark.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and you know, and I think I'm okay I'm okay with that. You know, for the most part. I mean, a lot of the structures they use, I mean, kind of look similar anyway. And like you said, I mean, a lot of the planets they all seem to be the same, and I guess rightfully so because they just can't seem to get out of this part of the solar
Galaxy.
system, this part of the
Yeah.
galaxy in Star Wars.
I mean, and they said on their tweet there's like 20 million species or something. It's like, well, if there's 20 million species, there got to be more than 3 planets.
Right, right. Yeah, and it seems to be all that there is. Now, I know like one of my aside from like the volume and that stuff. I mean, cuz like that to me, I mean, it like I think I'm at the point where I'm accepting that it's not going to meet my standards until they figure something out there. And then and the music, I think my other biggest criticism is like you said, Ewan McGregor's coming in doing a great job in the show, but then that little girl that they got to play Leia, I just
Not feeling her.
not at all, not at all. And the thing is, like the girl herself, she's doing a good job. I think it's a lot of the dialogue and the fact that, and here's the thing, I looked this up. because I was told that the little girl's 10 years old, and her birthday was just like, I think yesterday or something like that, or getting ready to come up. Maybe it was today. I can't remember. Or tomorrow. It was it's somewhere like time like really soon. She's getting ready to turn 10 years old. And I'm not sure when they filmed this show, but even if it was as much as a year ago, she's 8 years old at that point.
Yeah.
And my thing when I seen her on the screen, I'm like, man, like they said she's supposed to be 10 years old, but I'd buy it if they said this girl was 6 years old, maybe. And because she looks a little bit young.
Yeah, she does look tiny for her age.
Yeah, and especially when she's standing next to Ewan McGregor, I'm just like, oh, like my kids are small, but even my daughter, she's 11 now. And I'm thinking a year ago, like she wasn't that much smaller. And I'm just like, I know a lot of times in Hollywood, one of the things they do is they cast older people to play younger roles.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I know, like obviously everything, like they're trying to stray away from that a little more, because the industry and how, just I mean, that's one of the things they do is, exploiting young people. And every time you get somebody older on screen, they're doing everything they can to make them look younger. It's kind of what it's all about, it seems like.
Now with that, I don't have any kids, so I don't I don't know when the kids do the growth spurts, but I remember, I don't know if you watched or heard of the that show, His Dark Materials. The actress
so.
Daphne Keane from Logan.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's the lead in the show, and like between the seasons, she like grew.
Uh-huh.
So I guess maybe that's why they did this, to avoid that. I don't know. Like, do kids do their growth spurts at 10 years old?
You know what they do? I mean, I would say they do definitely go through some different growth spurts around those ages, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, I think I'm sure it kind of depends on the kids and everything too. And like I said, my kids seem small compared to a lot, but I think when hopefully maybe next time they'll think about that a little, like let's get somebody maybe a year or two older to play a little bit younger, because I think the camera does a lot of that stuff as well. But yeah, for me, I think a lot of it was like the dialogue. The girl looks very young where she's supposed to be a 10-year-old, and then like with the dialogue, some of it just seemed a little too mature but immature at the same time. Like it just seemed, I don't know. For me, it just felt off.
She acts a little too grown for you.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, like, it's like an immature grown. Like it's almost like you can tell it's a mature person writing it, trying to be immature.
Yeah.
Maybe they should have let her improvise.
So I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned like how the soundstage stuff is just kind of like jarring to you. That's how I felt on the first episode of Mandalorian. Like you're going from Star Wars, which has been on nothing but the movie, like theatrical, and then going to TV, and it's like you could tell the difference between a movie budget and a TV budget. So could that just be something for you, because it's obvious that it's not a movie budget?
Well, it's funny because that's something that I was actually even just talking about last night. Last night I kind of did an impromptu live stream, just flapping my gums about stuff. And that's one of the things I was thinking about. Like, I feel like one of the things when it comes to these shows is like Star Wars and Marvel, they are these cinematic universes, if you will, right? And like we're used to seeing these on the big screen, and then by the time we see these shows, we have this expectation that they are that, and they are putting pretty big budgets into these shows and everything. But I think the quality across the board of what they're doing on Star Wars and even the Marvel stuff is just not the same movie quality,
right?
And I really feel like we're expecting to be, though I don't think we should be, because like largely I don't really watch TV shows, and the thing that I started to think about that was because somebody else was bringing up like they were bringing up other shows, I know Raised by Wolves is one that people have been liking lately. I've never watched it, but a lot of these series on kind of these other streaming services that are big, like Game of Thrones, we had The Sopranos for years, and all these different kinds of bigger budget shows. But they were standalone shows. They're not part of a cinematic universe. They were doing their own thing. And I feel like that's a big thing with the Star Wars and the Marvel stuff is like they're part of a larger universe, and we have that expectation of films and film quality. And by the time we're seeing this in the shows, it's kind of lower budget, lower quality. It's just not quite, I don't know, maybe tickling our fancy the way it should be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like especially with the Marvel stuff, I feel like maybe you all should just do the street level people, the ones that don't need so many like special effects, especially if you're going to be using them between a movie and a TV show, because you'll be like, for example, Miss Marvel. Like we ain't seen it, but like you when she's in the Marvel Captain Marvel 2, you'll be able to tell the difference between her powers in there and in the TV show. Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree, and like I said, I think that's one of the biggest things I've kind of come to realize. Like these shows, they're not gonna be what we want them to be in that sense that of living up to what we're used to seeing on screen. And I think with WandaVision, I really kind of tempered my expectations at that point. Anyway, with a lot of with a lot of those kinds of things. Even though like I still say WandaVision is probably my favorite one of all the series that they've done on the Marvel side of stuff. And I think Mando's been actually pretty decent overall in the quality, for sure. But and then my other criticism, my other criticism is, this is the big one, right? This is one everybody's talking about is Reva. My biggest criticism is my other criticism, and it's not even a really big one. I think my biggest criticism, the one that triggers me the most, is the Leia thing. But the character of Reva, I know plenty of people have different feelings about this character, how it's written and everything. Like me, I kind of feel like Reva and Leia were both kind of caricaturized. They seemed a little, I don't know, bigger than
they cosplaying another character.
Yeah, kind of like and I think the character of Reva, I think it's like, for me, I noticed just on the first episode, like for me it was the actor in the role. I just Moses Ingram, her talent just doesn't seem to be as adept as the other people she's around. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because one of the things is definitely true, whether you're in like whatever kind of like a job you're in, whether you're doing sports or anything like that. In order to get better and improve, you have to be around better people, right. People that aren't at your level, and so you can learn and all that stuff and get up to that level. You're not going to get better by being around people who are at your same level or below. Because if you're the top, you need better people up there. You're just not going to improve. So I don't have any issues with that, because there's obviously times like in this third episode here where I think it seems like a lot of stuff was maybe played a little bit more to her strengths in the episode, because there wasn't having to be as much of the overacting, I guess, when like, because for me I think it's all emoting. The difference between like the really great actors and just your average actor. And I feel like a lot of she was doing just putting on the mean face and like that was it. Raise her voice a little. Yeah. And I think this episode it allowed her to do a little bit more than just that, I think. I definitely didn't have as many complaints about her in this episode as I did everything else.
Yeah, I mean, she was what? She was barely in the episode. I mean, she was in it, but it was like cut scenes, basically. Mm-hmm. And like you said, she didn't really do much. She said a few lines here and there. But like you said, I mean, she's a fairly new actor, and she's on screen with seasoned people for the most part.
Right.
So, I'm not one. I'm a person that I expect the best at everything I do or I'm doing. Mm-hmm. But with certain things, it's like, okay, you got to go with what you got. Like, everyone's not going to be Ewan McGregor. Like, so it's like, I'm not saying, okay, if she's doing a bad job, if she's trash and terrible, then it is what it is. But at the same time, you got to understand she's a fairly new actress, and she's on the screen with a seasoned veteran who's been in the Star Wars universe since the 90s.
Right, right. And portraying a new character at that, a
Yes.
character that nobody
Yes.
knows, you know.
Now,
So, and that's something I would say is hard in itself because it's something that I mean, ever gets struggled with it, whether it's in movies, comic books, or anything like that. Is new characters getting somebody in there that can fulfill and do the role and do good and get people to like this character, or at least even maybe even not even like, but maybe even dislike the character enough on like the actual character level to like get people's attention and make them kind of like that character, I guess.
right.
And it's not
And
easy.
to follow up on that, you make a great point. Here's an example. For anybody that's watched Arrow, right? If you watch from season, and this is with most TV shows that that, like you said, is a new character or a new show. The lead actors aren't like what they come into. Like, for example, like Stephen Amell, he got so much better playing the character Arrow. Like, if you've watched CSI, Gil Grissom, William Peterson, if you watch from the very beginning and then watch later on seasons, you could see how later on as the show progressed, he started to own that role. I mean, like you said, it's a new character, it's a new person playing this role, so it's like you got to let them get into it. It's like everyone's not going to knock it out the park episode 1 or 2, and that's with most TV shows.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we could get on to one of a TV show that I really enjoyed, which was Agents of Shield. One of the few TV shows I enjoy, and that was definitely one of those ones. Like, I swear, like that first half a season, almost maybe even almost a first full season, was Clark Gregg carrying that show. And
yes,
I remember when it came out, that first season, thinking like, man, y'all better do something to get me a little more interested. Clark Gregg's only going to carry this for so long.
right, exactly. Like Fitz, Gemma, all the other characters were just generic characters, and Chloe Bennett, who I don't think she's a good actress, but compared to the beginning of the show to when it ended, Chloe Bennett got a lot better.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to make excuses, but like if anyone watches TV shows, they know how this goes. Like, they got to get into the role. It's not going to happen in 1 or 2 episodes.
Right. And you know what's, and speaking of which, that actually kind of reminds me of something. Like, the unfortunate thing is well, we're hearing different from rumors right now, but the character may not even have that much of a chance to take off anyway. You know, apparently she was just planned for this season, supposedly supposed to die at the end of this season, and now it's being rumored that is going to be maybe going to live and carry on into a season 2 possibly. So, I mean, and that's the thing too, is like, that's what sucks about introducing new characters. And I know certainly Chillmonger has talked about this before when it comes to like the comic books. And I've kind of made mention of the same thing too. Like, you don't come up with a new character, put out a new comic book, put out a 5-issue miniseries with a nobody writer and a nobody artist and be like, hey, here's this new character. Oh, it didn't really sell. Nobody really got onto the character. We tried.
Right. And then another issue with this is it's a limited series. Like, if they only do the 6 episodes. So there you go. But let's be real, man. Like, me and you agree with Luke Skywalker. But we will both say Luke Skywalker or Mark Hamill improved as Luke Skywalker as each movie went along.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, people got to think about that type of stuff. Like I said, I'm not making excuses for Moses Ingram. Like, I don't think she's as horrible as everyone's saying. Like, I can see the faults in the acting and in the performance. But like, I don't think she's the worst actress to ever grace the screen ever. Like some people are acting.
Right. Well, I mean, because you can even take a look at I can't remember the actor's name who was in Tokyo Drift, and then he's from he was playing the other Inquisitor, brother
Han?
brother 2 or
The
whatever.
Han, wasn't his name Han in Fast and Furious?
Yeah. Like even his acting show, like I think he's a pretty decent actor too, but like even him in the show is kind of like he's a little characterized. I feel like he's just like
Right.
overacting here. I'm kind of like and that's the thing is like I kind of feel like it's just something that's going on here. Like I almost feel like they were directed to be that
Yeah.
way.
I mean, that's possible because like a lot of these villains we get are just cartoon characters. So
Right. Yeah.
it's possible.
Uh, that's animated
Animated.
characters.
Yes, animated characters. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. Let me get my no, that's not a pronoun. Let me get my nouns right.
Right. So well, I mean, I think that's really all I've got. I mean, overall, I think the show itself has been pretty good. I've had a good like it's been decent. It's been decent. I
Mhm.
can't I haven't enjoyed it and I haven't hated it. It's definitely giving me some things to kind of stew about and like but I think a lot of these shows have really kind of done that for me here on Disney Plus anyway. And
Yeah.
I'm not used to watching shows anyway. I don't really watch a lot of these kind of TV
Yeah.
shows. Like I'll watch Seinfeld or something like that. Just something silly kind of. Because to me, that's what TV shows are. It's just sitcoms. Just like
Yeah.
get on there, tell a couple jokes, stupid jokes referencing reality, and that's good. That's good enough.
Yeah. I mean, the main issue is you're having movie studios create TV shows. So
Right.
it's like for us as fans, like you mentioned, we're coming from cinematic universes, so that's what we're trained to see and used to see,
Hmm.
and now it's on the TV format. It's like it's hard for us to adjust, and not only us as fans. I think between Marvel and Lucasfilm, they need to do a better job of producing their TV shows. I mean,
Right.
I said, I mean, we talked about it when we did the discussion with me, you, Chillmong, and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna give them a pass, Marvel a pass for these first series of shows, but like this next round, I need to see improvements with how they produce these shows.
Right. Well, I think in Moon Knight, I think they actually showed a definite improvement, and I actually think I've seen an improvement in Hawkeye too. Like some things in the writing, I definitely liked about the Hawkeye series, but the quality seemed to be a little bit better. And then definitely in Moon Knight, I noticed like the quality of just the production and value itself looked a lot better than say like WandaVision,
Yeah.
Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, like Falcon, like honestly, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, like it's probably like my third favorite of all these series. Well, maybe fourth at this point, but it's like going back and watching, it's like man, like that, like I don't know where they shot this thing, man, but it looks like they did this thing on a budget and they did the best they could.
They shot everything at what's it called? What's the studio in Atlanta called? I forgot. But whatever that studio that they
The
shoot on,
Pinewood, is it Pinewood Studios? I
some
think.
might be that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where they shot everything. They were like, "Hey man, we got this little block. We got to
Yeah.
use it."
Yeah, because there was that one. But you know what? In Loki too, I thought like for me, like again, Loki was man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
that it's going from cinematic to TV quality. I think is really what it is. But
Yeah.
while I feel like I've got some valid criticisms, and it sounds like you've got some valid criticisms of the show. It sounds there's a whole lot of other people out there that don't really quite have as valid criticisms that in my opinion, that I would say of this show. And it's
Yeah.
something you've definitely kind of talked about a couple of times on your channel. You've done a few videos recently talking about some of the backlash going on
Yeah.
over Moses Ingram, Star Wars in general, Lucasfilm, over the past, I guess, the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I know the first thing was I think the first video you did was the first one. Was that the first one on Mecha Random?
Yeah.
Talking about like a lot of the backlash you've seen this video, and I think for the most part, when it comes to a lot of the things that you're discussing in the video, and that you've even discussed with like Ashley and Chillmonger, I think pretty much across the board, I agree with most of the stuff that you're saying in these conversations. I think where my biggest difference would be is in, I guess, dealing with it or talking to these people, or how to handle these people. I guess these people. Yeah, I said it.
Hey, trust me. You don't want to know how. I'm not going to say how I would handle them online.
Right. But like one of the things, because like in your video, you're talking like I left comments, a comment on your video, and even in the other videos of some of the streams you've been on, where like the thing with like Mecha Random, like I largely when you did that video, I'm like, this doesn't really sound like news to me. I mean, I remember hearing about her a couple of years ago and all these things. I'm like, this doesn't really sound anything out of the norm. I don't watch her channel. I mean, I think I watched one video and I pretty much got the gist of it. Like because me, like when I see these things, these people like this, like the way I've kind of been in my life is like I brush these people off. Like I could care less about what these people are doing or saying. They're not my friends, and I would do as little as I could to give a boost to their voice, much less make a video about them.
Yeah, I mean. For me, I reached out to her first.
Mhm.
Like there was no video going to happen. Like I reached out to her and she ignored me. Like
Right.
if we would have talked about it and like I explained my way, she would have removed it. Whatever. Don't remove it. Whatever. So like I made the video because like I just felt like this is wrong, man. Like you're doing this in your thumbnail, regardless if it's a joke. Like I found out it was a South Park reference, like right when I posted and someone mentioned it, and then a few other people explained it, and they was like, she's not even using the reference right.
Right.
Like, but it's like, man, I'm just like, man, I get tired of this. Like, I only saw it because someone in the Discord was talking about people talking about this woke or whatever. So that's when I did the search, and that's when I saw the thumbnail. Like, if that thumbnail wasn't there, I would have never clicked the video. And,
right.
The
thumbnail did its job.
Right. The thumbnail did its job. And this is like, man, like this is not acceptable, man. This is like, look, man, if y'all want to be in your video saying this kind of nonsense, like, do what you do. I'm not going to make a video every single time y'all mention this stuff. But like the thumbnail was just like, man, nah. That's right. Overboard for me. Like, we're not darkies. I don't care how you use it as a reference. I know for a fact. Well, no, I don't know for a fact. I can't read your mind. But knowing the content you make, I know what you were getting at and what you were doing. So I guess she triggered me, and it worked.
Right.
but
all
but
good.
No,
hey, we all get triggered.
Right. The funny thing about it is she makes her follow-up videos, and she talks about bots. She don't acknowledge me. I'm the first person to talk about this.
Right.
But it's like, man, whatever. Like, just like grow up, man. And then like she doubles down on this stuff. It's like,
right. That's kind of the strategy, right? Somebody don't like it. You double down, and largely me. That's why I see these people doing these things like like I don't like. I feel like you're not even worth my time, sweat, or energy, And however, I think one of the things that I took away in some of these conversations, because like and I was kind of talking about this last night on the stream I was doing, where like I guess that's the thing is like kind of like some of this stuff where I was listening like with you and Ashley and you and Chillmonger. One of the things is the difference in, like I said, that difference in like these people like me. I just like the way I grew up in life was like like fuck these people, like. But one of the things I noticed was like you and Ashley, when you guys were talking, and this is obviously definitely something probably in the way I was raised, obviously, as well, and probably just life experiences too. Because we all have kind of different life experiences in these kinds of things. But was one of the things that really struck me was she was talking about, and you had even said because about saying something about people like this video, this thumbnail and stuff like that, people saying stuff like you always kind of felt like you don't have a place to say, or you're just supposed to fall in line because basically nobody wants to hear it from you. And that was something I kind of I really thought about. I'm like, Cause like for me, that's not me. You know what I mean? The way I was raised in my life experience, like no, I don't. If there's something I don't like or agree with, like I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm gonna speak my mind. I'm gonna say it. kind of regardless, and that's something like just kind of experiences that I was told through like the way I was raised through my parents, and some of the things that they went through when they were growing up, and some of their experiences that kind of made me that way. But you guys were talking about that. I was like, man, that's like, I like hearing stuff like that because like me, like I don't get that because me, I'm always gonna speak my mind. And obviously, like you guys are there talking on the live stream and everything, you speak in your mind. But how you guys said you would typically normally just like not even say anything. It's like, okay, like I feel like I'm supposed to shut up and not say nothing.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like me, I'm like you. I've always spoken my mind on stuff. Always, right? But like as I've gotten older, I've gotten into the mode just like, you know what? Whatever. But
Right.
like using YouTube, right? And just being online and you just and constantly hearing and seeing stuff. And it's even like when I talk to like other people, especially other black folk, and like they talk about these things, they tell their experiences, and it's like, man, I can't keep just like if I'm using this platform, I can't keep just saying nothing, right?
Right.
And
Right.
entertaining a bunch of people that think that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, like I said, I mentioned to you, like you say I like drama. Like
We all
it's funny,
do.
let's talk about like I I know what you were saying, like, but for me, like what I meant by it was like I'm not gonna go back and forth for
Right.
2 straight weeks beefing online about stuff like that.
Right.
But like, and I'm gonna continue being that way. Like I'm not gonna sit here every time someone says something in a video or in a tweet. I'm not gonna hop on YouTube and make a video about it. But like with especially with this Moses Ingram thing, like I felt that was important to mention this stuff and talk about it because I keep seeing it happening
Right.
within their community when it comes to people in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
and
it happened with Christina Ariel,
right.
right?
Right.
They like to disregard that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because they all say that Disney is manufacturing this racism stuff, but it's like, hold on.
Right.
When Disney announced that they were hiring Christina Ariel for the High Republic, y'all went out of y'all way to look up her tweets and then start calling her racist and start harassing her.
Mm-hmm.
So now you wonder why Star Wars puts out tweets like that. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not on my Martin Luther King and Malcolm X type thing, but like, I just feel like, man, sometimes you got to speak up and mention these things. Like, it might not do anything,
Right.
but making people aware and
Mm-hmm.
maybe one of those idiots will finally have a come to Jesus meeting. Like, hold on, man, I'm doing wrong. Who knows?
Right. Right. Yeah. No. And like, right. Like, maybe you won't change nobody's mind, but maybe you could make them have a change of heart. Maybe you could
Yeah.
make them make a little bit of a turn, because one of the things I was talking about even last night in the stream, and I was talking about these kinds of things. I've been like I said, when you and Ashley brought up the part about just like kind of feeling like you're never really supposed to say anything. Just supposed to like just take it and just keep on going, and which is kind of something even the actor brought up in her little video she did. Like, oh, like we're just supposed to just take it, not say anything. And I don't think that's necessarily the case, and so many people do, always say like the shut up and dribble thing, which I think is a bunch of bullshit too. But I will say when it comes to that, like on the when you're on the field, when you're there doing your job, whatever, that's when you just shut up and dribble. We don't want to see it there. We're there to watch a game. Like you have other times when you can use, you can get on your soapbox and do what you want to do. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for game time, just shut up and dribble. That's but largely, other than that, I mean, like largely, like go ahead, do what you got to do, speak your mind, tell people what you feel. But one of the things I was thinking about was like, I like, and that's another thing is like, I would never want somebody to feel that way. I worked in management, so dealing with a bunch of different personalities and things. And there was times when we would get people into the office and have to have some tough conversations. Whether that's me pulling somebody else in the office to have those conversations, or me being in the office, myself to be reprimanded or be talked to or whatnot, is
I never liked
obviously,
those conversations.
yeah, they're rough. It can be rough for sure. But the thing is, like, you get in there, and obviously, if it's like a work performance kind of thing or whatnot, obviously, like, tensions start to run high, emotions start to run high, because it's people's livelihoods. It's basically it's things that people are very serious about, you know. And which what we're talking about here, the subject matter is in itself is something that is very serious to a lot of people too.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I've been in those situations, and even when I'm sitting there coming down on somebody, I don't want them to feel like they couldn't say anything, because I'm there telling them what I feel like they need to improve or what they need to improve, or maybe they're telling me. And for me, it's kind of that situation. It's a what they would call a coaching. I'm there to coach you for improvement, so you can improve on your job. And I'm
Right.
gonna be as honest with you as I can be, and forthcoming. And I would really only want and expect the same thing out of somebody right back. I wouldn't want them to feel like they couldn't or shouldn't say anything, especially at that time, because that's the time that they should be there to say it.
Yeah, man. I mean, absolutely. And it's funny you mentioned like the management conversation. Though, like when I worked retail as a youngster, I used to like. I promise you, I used to be a person that like could care less what anybody thought. Like I'm gonna say what's on my mind, whether you like it or not. Deal with it. So I had many of those conversations working at Best Buy with management because the customer in my mind was not always right.
Right. Yeah.
But man, like like I'm not like I say to people, I'm not even a sensitive person. Like I'm not the most sensitive. I don't get upset at every single thing someone says.
Right.
But like people need to understand, like everyone doesn't think like you or feel like you. So like you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, like some people don't speak out because they don't want to get ignored. I mean, I have people reach out to me all the time about stuff like, and they want me to talk about things because they don't feel like it would get noticed on their YouTube channels. I even have people that subscribe to the channel. They'll message me and share their feelings with me, or even if like they say something like that they disagree with me, they'll explain it to me, and it's like, okay, you know
Right.
what, you make a good point.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my subscribers actually, it was a while ago. I think it was around the time Joaquin Phoenix won the Oscar, and
Mm-hmm.
she said to me that like you on your channel, you don't talk down on black people, but you got to see how what you're saying can get misinterpreted by people who feel that way about black people.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was like, you make a good point. And I had
Right.
to sit back, like you mentioned, like when me and Ashley was talking. So that was one of those things where I had to sit back and think about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, you know, it's okay to evolve and change and have a change of heart and things. Like I don't understand why some people just feel like, oh, I'm not changing for nothing. I
Right.
am who I am.
Right. Right. Well, and I think like even getting into that, I think that's one of the things. One of the biggest things is that getting together to have conversations, right? Like
Right.
I could like there's like we could probably go on all night talking about stuff where we don't agree with, and at no point are we probably going to get to a point where things are going to get heated and emotional, because well for one I'm not that way for the most part. I mean, I've been that way. I have. But I
I,
also, it's
I'm
not really my temperament, and I'm
yeah.
not trying to have that kind of discussion with you. I know, like, I'm more open to hearing what you have to say, and not trying to trigger you for whatever reason, or do like I get. And that's the thing, is like I see so many of these debates on YouTube that I get on here, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, the guy debates, like for one, like a lot of the people will start off, and everybody's like right fighting, they're trying to change somebody's mind, and you can't really take some of these debates like you're trying to change anybody's mind, because you're largely not going to.
Right.
It's about coming together and having a conversation and talking about what it is, that's like maybe sorting through your feelings and maybe getting the interpretation right for who you disagree with, and maybe right for yourself in what you're saying. Because
Right.
I think there's a lot that's lost in that. Maybe people expressing themselves the right way. Because like the other week, I was over on I was Nerdette was doing a stream. And I got on there, and she's one of the ones I've seen her have many of these kind of conversations and debates as well with people, and it gets heated, And next thing you know, people are just sitting there trying to poke each other, trying to get on each other's
Yeah.
nerves until one gets triggered and the other person starts acting a fool. Well, I was there talking with her the other day about some of these things with like comic books and stuff like that. And I was bringing up some of the issues that people have with some of the things they do in the comic books, and kind of what it was a disagreement stream. And I got on there and I explained what I was my disagreement with her was with some of the stuff she was talking about. And pretty much by the time I broke down and said what I said, because it's the kind of the way I feel about it, but it's also what I hear from other people. They just don't present it right.
Yeah.
Like by the time I say it to her and everything, which I know like what I've heard from her in her videos, she disagrees with me about. But by the time I say like, here's kind of what like how I make sense of it, like she's like, oh, like yeah, I can agree with that. Like I get that, but you don't hear everybody else say it like that. Most of the time you can see somebody foaming at the mouth, while they're screaming into their camera, getting ready to probably have a coronary.
And also, a lot of people, they're not listening to what the person is saying.
Right.
And so all they could do is respond with the normal stuff they say. Like, and that's why when people say, oh, LB, you should debate this person. You should debate that person. It's like, for what reason? I already know how it's going to go. I know how this YouTube thing is. Like, it's not going to be a discussion like me and you are having.
Right.
Like,
right.
me and you have a respect factor. Like, we're grown men. We respect each other as men. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to talk to you like you're a little child. Well, you don't talk to children like that. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to talk down to you. Like, I'm going to talk to you like a grown man. Like, people don't do that on YouTube because they're just chasing the algorithm.
Well, I think the thing is I would expect from you what I give you. What I put out there, I would expect back. Like if I start getting snarky and smart with you and just get that kind of stuff, I would expect you to do that right back. And largely that's what people do. Like getting into the conversation, there's never anybody that just says like, you know what, I can see where you're trying to go with this. I can see like how your attitude's going. I'm just gonna like, you can go ahead and get out. Like nobody does that. What usually happens, they just start barking and at each other and going at it, and like nothing ever gets done that way. I mean, it's entertainment at that point. That's all it is. And I would say it's a low IQ entertainment. That's what I call it, because like it's just sit there, the popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I can control myself to know, like, I'm not gonna get on YouTube on someone's thing and embarrass myself, because I would be embarrassed if I start screaming and yelling and stuff.
Right.
So it's like I remember one conversation. I'm not gonna mention who he was, but like I said to him, I'm like, "What's up with all this yelling and screaming and this macho-ness?"
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And he starts going with the insults. It's like, bro, I'm talking to you in a regular tone, man to man, and you're doing all this extra stuff. What's up with that? And he's just like, yeah. So no debating. It's just a waste of time for the most part.
Right. Yeah. It is for the most part, and that's why like there's, like I said, I mean you kind of get with people that like I said, there's conversations that you can have good conversations with, and getting into, and that's one of the good things is like getting those people and trying to get those people and bring them in and not let them go. You know what I mean? Like there's you like LB Chillmonger is another one of those guys. When I first started talking to him, and just before we ever actually talk, see him in chats and just kind of that stuff. Like I can tell this dude is a chill guy. He started doing his channel, watching his channel, and just things like that. Like I said, you just kind of get comfortable with people and kind of liking the company, and like you said, the respect level as well. And I think a lot of people come at things from a certain extent of respect, but most people aren't willing to give much more than that. They give you that little bit, but you're not going to get much more than that. And I mean, obviously, we all know respect is something that's earned anyway. And it's like, I think a lot of people these days don't want to give people the chance to earn it at all anyways. So
Right. And it's funny you mentioned that. It's like, okay, yeah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But like, say we're having a conversation. I haven't earned your respect. But if I'm talking to you regularly, like I'm doing now, and you're coming at me another kind of way, it's like, how am I supposed to earn your respect if you're not even trying to give me some respect?
right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um Gosh. I feel like there's some more I'm missing. I feel like there's some more that we should be covering, that we should be talking about here. Because like I said, I think the thing with like I'm saying, the mecha random thing. I mean, I'm dealing with a lot of these people, and like I said, in my experience growing up, that's kind of how it was. Is like a lot of these people, when they're being that way, people who are being racist and all that shit. Like I think everybody out there's probably been discriminated against, but having these things happen as a kid and growing up, and just all of these things all around it, like I largely realized, like, you know what, fuck these people that want to be like that. I like that's not me. I'm not one of these people that's gonna go around hating these people either. Most of the time I usually think like it's just sad, you know.
It is.
It's just sad.
It's very sad. And I mean, here we could talk about, we talked about Star Wars, but like, is when Star Wars put out that tweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think, okay, Star Wars puts out this tweet. I don't agree with everything you do, Disney, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
with you on this.
Right.
Like, why would someone have a problem with Star Wars, Disney, whatever, saying, "Hey, people, don't be racist"? But
Right.
here we go. People got a problem with that.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
and that's like my thing when that came up. I'm kind of like, the company, like, they don't need to do that. I mean, for me, the thing is, like, they should definitely have the actors back, you know, because like some people were, you know, were saying like, oh, like they need to do this, they should do this, you know, let the people know that they have their back. And I kind of like my outlook on that is, I just feel like they're not promoting it, so they don't have to shoot it down. But as far as the actor and letting them know that they have their back and stuff like that, I always just kind of feel like that's inherent in the fact that they've got this role and they're there in the show doing their thing anyway. But I also don't think that there's anything wrong with the company going out there and doing this. There are certainly plenty of times, like we can see right now, here, what are we, 3 days into the month, plenty of times where we see big corporations going out there to literally virtue signal and pander to people.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this situation was exactly that at all. It's completely different. When looking at stuff like that, because obviously we know it's Pride Month right now, and that's kind of one of the things you get online, like the what was it, June 1st, and it's like, okay, well, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Everything's rainbows, and what's funny is, like, largely I know a lot of people that don't like that. You know, a lot of people in the gay community that don't like that, all that corporate pandering and everything. And yeah, I remember last year even seeing tweets about it, like somebody put out this hilarious one, like, corporations, maybe you could get somebody gay to actually handle these campaigns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
And yeah, and so like I said, I definitely don't think what they were doing with that tweet and what they were saying was that at all. It wasn't in the corporate pandering or virtue signaling in any kind of way.
That's the buzzword, virtue
Right.
signaling.
Right.
It's like, who are they pandering to? Non-racist people?
Right. Yeah, and you know, and that brings me into, you know, I guess something else that was kind of obviously gets brought up in a lot of these kind of conversations is woke and diversity. These terrible words. And largely I feel like these are kind of words that are I don't know, like they've definitely been co-opted, but also I think it's just the fact that I feel like through time people start to forget what words actually mean, or even when there's terms that they actually had a meaning when they came about.
Yes.
And woke and is definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Diversity is definitely one of them, which, and I was thinking about this as well, like the diversity thing, like for me, like to me, I think that's anybody that's like my generation and younger really don't have anything to gripe or bitch about. Largely through my life since I was a child, I've seen like diverse people on screen. In whether it's music, movies, any of those different kinds of things, just out there. Maybe not always in leading roles and things like that, but as time has gone on, just through my lifetime, it's always been there. And there's been that in the past as well. And I think it was Anthony Manzano. He actually brought up last night while we were on the stream. He was kind of talking about some of that stuff too. He's like, oh, well, what about back in like the 50s or whatever with John Wayne when they had him playing a Native American. And I think there's certainly points, like when it comes to things like that, like back in the 50s, how many Native American actors did they even have that they could get and cast in a movie that they were trying to put out there like that? How many did they have? I think there's certainly like limitations back then, but then moving into now, obviously, I think there's been a lot more of that over the years since I've been alive, and it's like to the point where I feel like if you get a movie that doesn't have a diverse cast, like we were even talking about The Northman, like to do that, you have to do that purposefully. Like even, because I know on that stream that you were on with Chillmonger, Biggie Shack brought up the Friday thing. And to do that, to get like an all-black cast, you have to do that purposefully. And it's not always because, like in Friday, and even The Northman, Friday, I mean, they're showing an all-black neighborhood.
And
How
you
many
know what's
white people
funny?
should be in that film?
Right. You know what's crazy? Like how many people bring up like that for an example? It's like
Right,
no one complains about that when they do an all black movie.
right,
What?
yeah, yeah, and
That's
like,
just like
yeah, and in the sense that I think he was like, I know he was probably like he was being silly and bringing that point up as well, as much as just saying putting it out there as well. But yeah, I mean that's largely what it is, and like I said, there's times when you will have stuff like that, because I even brought up like Training Day. You watch Training Day, and they go into the neighborhood, that neighborhood there down in L.A. where I wouldn't go into that neighborhood. But they go into that neighborhood, and he walks in that neighborhood himself, and you see all the people in the neighborhood like, what are you doing here, white boy? Like yeah,
exactly. That is realistic.
yeah. I mean
If
that's exactly
hey,
it. Um,
if that movie came out today, they would say that movie is woke. They would say that movie is racist.
right, right. Well, and that's the thing, and that's one of the kind of thing I was talking about. It's like I mean, technically, if you look at a movie, like Training Day, if you look at a movie like Friday, I mean technically they are woke. I mean technically speaking, I mean they are showing the inner struggles of young black men in the ghetto in Friday. A day in the life of. And I mean if that really isn't woke, and I mean what is?
It's
But
funny, like Ashley from the Widow, she actually went over like the meaning of woke and stuff. Like I learned some things that I didn't know. But
mhm.
yeah, man, it's just like everything's woke now. If there's a
Right,
black lead, it's woke. If there's an Asian lead, it's woke. If there's three Chinese not Chinese people in the movie, it's woke. Four
right,
Hispanic people in the movie, woke.
right. Yeah.
A
Well,
disabled person in the movie, woke.
mm-hmm. Well, and that's because I was even thinking about one of my favorite movies, La Bamba. That would technically be woke. They even showed specifically in there about he was a Mexican from the barrio, and like they had to change his name because he's like nah, and they're like later they showed him on like Rick Dees, and like, oh, he's Italian, right? And he's like, yeah, he's Italian. Like, yeah, he is. But and I think when it comes to a lot of that stuff, again, I mean, when it comes to any of that stuff, it's writing. So like, I definitely understand when people complain and gripe about, woke movies and everything, largely, I mean, they probably don't express it that way, but largely I would say it's when you get stuff in these movies that it's just not very good writing, and I think that's
Yeah.
where a lot of stuff is at these days anyway, is there's so much stuff that just comes out with not very good
Yeah.
writing that when there's something good that actually comes out, like people are like you notice it, it really
Yeah.
gets noticed.
It's so much content, man. So much TV shows, streaming services, movies being made. It's just like the writing is seriously lacking because they pumping out so much stuff.
Right. Yeah, man, you brought up my trigger word. Content. I've been on this thing like lately with Martin Scorsese, man. He made those comments a couple years ago about the MCU,
The
these
Marvel, yeah.
comic book movies, man. And I'm like, like the more time has gone on, the more I'm sitting here like, you know what? Martin was right, man. He was
Yeah.
right. It's this
I
thing
agreed
with
with
this
him when he said it.
content, and like at the time I didn't, in the sense that like like I like the movies and stuff like now, but like I kind of knew what he was getting at, but I feel like it was a hey boomer moment, like you're just being a boomer, bro, like just calm down. But here over these past couple years since he said that, I've really noticed that because that's what he was talking about. He's like they're thrill rides, it's like he's like it's not cinema, and you go to the movies, that's what it is. You go through Spider-Man. How many times are we saying they're like it's on a roller coaster? Everybody's like, woo, clapping, getting out of their seats and wooing and all this stuff. And like, and I've talked about this too. Like I'm one of those people. Like when I go to the movie, like I want y'all to just shut up and sit down. Like don't be cheering. I don't care if it's whoever doing whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like Charlie Cox on screen. I don't care. Just sit down and shut up.
Right.
But,
like I've seen him before. I've seen him before.
But I do also like the experience, like the energy from the crowd and everything. I do like that. Even though I'm still sitting there on the inside, just like can y'all shut up? Like I didn't hear the X-Men music play.
Right. I mean, there's certain moments. It's like you're making too much noise. Shut up. I'm missing things. Like I mean, I like the theater experience like that. Like going to a movie opening night, and when the Marvel music plays and everyone starts cheering and clapping and stuff, like I love that. But like I also want a cinematic experience, like you mentioned Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Great experience in the theater, great sugar high, thrill ride.
Mm-hmm.
And when you sit back and think about it, the movie really ain't all that good. Like it's like I like it,
right?
But you take out all the the highs and the drops.
Mm-hmm.
You realize it's okay. They just ran with a bunch of nostalgia beats.
Right. Well, and that's kind of the thing. Like the other thing, because he was one of the things he was talking about was like it's not cinema. He's like it's a thrill ride. And I'm like, man, like over time I've really noticed that here these past couple of years. And it's not just because of the shutdowns and we were starving for content so much. Content. Ugh. It's the fact that I noticed, like, even after Spider-Man came out, you get 2 weeks out from that movie, who was talking about it? Nobody was talking about it. Nobody cared at that point. By the time it came out on digital, nobody was talking like that. Like, everybody's like, oh, I went through and I watched it again. I found a couple more Easter eggs. Woohoo.
Look at Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Is anyone talking about Doctor Strange after the opening weekend?
Right. Not only people who wanted to see how big of a failure it was.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like it really is that, like, you're on the ride, and because he was talking about the theme parks, I'm like, man, it is so that, like, it's like and I made a joke of it, like, don't worry folks, you don't like this ride, step right up, we've got the next ride. You don't like Kenobi, don't worry folks, before this ride is over you can go ahead and step off, because we've got Ms. Marvel getting ready to come right at you next. If you don't like this one, you can get off early.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh man, and it's like, it's to the point where a lot of the I guess fans are kind of crossing over anyway too. Star Wars people liking some of the Marvel stuff, some of the Star Wars stuff. Probably not as hardcore as each individual one is, but getting so much of that crossover where it's like you're constant at this point, like you're saying, you're being bombarded. Here's a show, there's a show, here's another show, here's another show. You don't really have a chance to catch your breath. you don't really have a chance to sit back and let it set and let it stew. It's just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. Here over the last year, just the MCU. Just the MCU. We've got 6 shows and 5 films in a year. And granted, some of those were delayed, but still, like, in a matter of a year, they've got like 11 properties. That's like 1 a month.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. Like,
And it's not slowing down.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think they're doing 4 next year. Like, I mean, I love the MCU. Like, I've loved the ride that we've had with it, but it's like, man, between that and the Disney Plus shows, it's just getting to be too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much, man, and it's like oversaturated now. Like, I'm still watching it, but it's just like, man, you're not even giving me a chance to get hyped and excited and anticipate things.
Right. Exactly. And I think there's definitely something to that. I wouldn't say for me it's burnout. I like I said, I think a lot of it is due to the fact of these are cinematic universes and these shows aren't that, so they're not as fulfilling. And that's really kind of what brought me more on the thing of it's content. It's just content.
Yeah.
I don't want just content.
I mean, when they announced Disney Plus and they was like how much they spent on it, it's like, yeah, they're gonna be dropping a lot of content to get these subscriptions. Mm-hmm. We knew it was coming. We knew it.
Yeah, and you know what? Hey, we all wanted it too, didn't we?
Right. We
all wanted it.
Wanted more Marvel? Well, here you go. Lots of more Marvel.
Yeah.
6 shows a year, 4 movies a year.
Yeah. Well, and you know, and speaking of which, I mean, getting back into like some of the other stuff, I know, like, you know, we've got like Ms. Marvel coming up, you know, and obviously, one of the things I was talking about was kind of people getting upset with things like Ms. Marvel coming up. You know, it was a big deal. You know, Captain Marvel and some of these different things where they've kind of changed up characters and all these kinds of stuff. And I always feel like there's always these conversations that go on where like people are talking about one thing and they're kind of wanting to avoid some of the other stuff and wanting to maybe understand why people would be upset about Captain Marvel the movie. Why would anybody be upset about that? Hell, I didn't understand why to be upset about that until I watched Young Rip of 5'9", which was probably when I discovered his channel when he was talking about what they did, because I didn't know about Captain Marvel. I didn't know anything about Marvel and, you know, his character before and how he was one of those deaths in Marvel Comics. It was an actual death that has stuck, a character that died and is no longer around, and a main character even. He was a big hero, and how they pretty much wiped him out. And brought in the female character, and then you get into everything else, even getting into some of the stuff with these movies, like, you know, wanting to diversify and get more representation out there when they kind of missed the perfect opportunity there with a show like that, because Captain Marvel, after Marvel, was Monica Rambeau. And
right.
And it's like, you know, and like they're doing all these, like, Captain Marvel got a movie before Black Widow did. It's like that line skipping stuff. You know, we're getting a Ms. Marvel show before we even get Warlock in the MCU, who was part of the Infinity Gauntlet saga. Before we're getting the Fantastic Four, before we're getting the X-Men, before we're getting all these other big, huge, important characters, we're getting Ms. Marvel.
I mean, like, I agree, like, with what you mentioned about how, okay, you talk about diversity, but you do Brie Larson Captain Marvel instead. Like, and, like, well, a lot of these things, like, as far as the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, like, they ain't have no choice, you know? And, like, and that's one thing I always argue with people saying, how come Marvel Phase 1 was all white? I'm like, bruh, they don't even have the rights to most of their most popular characters.
Right.
If they had the X-Men and Spider-Man from the get-go and Fantastic Four, that wouldn't even been a discussion. They would have done the X-Men movie in Phase 1.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, man, like, some of these choices they make, like, and that swapping characters and stuff like that, it's like, and then you could see, like, okay, they realized we messed up with the Captain Marvel thing because they put the real one in what was the movie? Doctor Strange in the other universe.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and yeah, there's a lot that, like, when it comes to those kinds of things, like, that's why I say, like, when there's somebody that actually has a gripe, like, that can express it legitimately, I'm like I get it.
Yes.
I really do get that, and that's one of the things I've noticed with a lot of this stuff, and with these characters, because I'm like, yeah, we're getting, like, seriously, like, we're getting Ms. Marvel before we get how many other characters out there, arguably even Moon Knight. Like, we got Moon Knight before we got, how many other, before we even got Fantastic Four and some of those things too. So I think it's just more hyper focused when you get something like what happened with Captain Marvel, Ms. Marvel coming in, and some of those things.
Don't forget, people hate Brie Larson's guts.
Right.
Don't
Well,
forget
that was her own doing. I can't change anybody's mind on that when it comes to, because like, largely when it comes to this, I've said this multiple times. What she was saying, what she was trying to say there, I fucking agree with 100%.
Right.
The way she said it, I don't agree with how she said it whatsoever. Like, you could have said it 100 better ways.
You know what's hilarious about it, right? Like, I actually watched the whole not interview, but the whole clip from her speech the other day. Like, the reason why is because I was watching another video trying to compare something. But like, I watched it, and like, my whole point of view from it is like, I don't want you speaking for me. You feel me? Like right with screenplays. Show don't tell. Like, show us what you're doing. Like, you took the role of a black character or whatever. But it's like, listening to what she's saying, it's like, y'all really went on a rage on YouTube for years off of something that y'all completely misinterpreted.
Right. Yeah, you never say some 40-year-old white dude. Never say that.
Yeah, don't say
You'll
that.
upset people. You'll upset 30-year-old white dudes.
Yeah.
People quickly on their way to 40. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I was there once.
It's like, bro. It's like, look, bro. I know it. No one's gonna have their mind shaped. Like, if you just sat there and watched what she said, like, you really don't have a reason to be that angry.
Right.
Like, you could not like how she said it, but like to be that angry.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like it's like anything these days. You say it online, and people just read the headline. They don't read the article. It's that's a perfectly good case. Because, like, honestly, when if you heard what she said, I'm like, I don't see how that's disagreeable. Getting somebody who is probably a little bit more of the demographic to review a movie, like a certain kind of movie, like. That seems to make sense. And that's not, and look, I don't think at any point in that damn speech she said, the big mega movie critic that everybody looks to, he can't go.
Right.
I don't think she said that. I don't think, unless I missed that part of the clip, I don't think she said that he couldn't go.
Right.
She's just saying that this person should be there. That was it. And I get that.
And it's funny, like, she did what they like to do. She said, I don't hate white guys. I mean, y'all like to say that. I have black friends. I don't hate black people. She did the same thing. What are you mad at? She did what you do.
Yeah. Like I said, it is one of those things, I read the headline. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And I got to admit, it makes for interesting conversation when you just read the headline, I guess. But yeah. But
internet.
Yeah, that is. But anyway, man, I don't think I've really got anything else. It was nice to get here and talk, chop it up with you for a little while. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about, or anything you need to plug?
No, man. No, I enjoyed the conversation. It's always good to have conversations with level-headed people. Like, I say it to people, you ain't gotta agree with everything I say. I don't like talking to people who's gonna agree with everything I'm gonna say. Like, but like, if you disagree with something I said, or not with just me, but anything. Like, if you got a problem with a movie or a TV show, anything, explain yourself. Don't just say what you heard someone else say. Get
Right.
into detail. Tell me why you don't like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right.
Explain to me. Let's have a conversation. Don't just, it sucks.
Right. Yeah, and and that's one thing definitely too, because like when it comes to certain things, like if somebody can at least tell me why they don't like it, even if it's like bad, even if it's like it's a bad description, like can you like tell me like
Try
to tell me what you don't like about it? I'll give you that, because like sometimes like I feel like we get too critical about people's criticisms, like people like you don't approve of their criticism of it, so therefore their criticism is invalid, and again I think it comes down to kind of like we were talking about earlier. Some people just don't know how to express themselves that well. They just don't know how to express it.
like people need to remember, it doesn't matter what you say. A review is an opinion. Unless they're saying Obi-Wan Kenobi's an alien, which is a fact incorrect. Well, then again, we don't know if the humans in Star Wars are human, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Unless they're factually saying something wrong, everything is an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether they explain it as basic as it can come, or gave you the greatest detail, it's an opinion. So don't get upset at people's opinions. Like,
Right.
it's just that simple. Like, I mean, I've seen plenty of Kenobi reviews, and I just watching them and listening. It's like, I know y'all ain't watching this. Like, y'all are just watching someone else's review or reading something you sit on the internet and coming up with stuff. Because, like, some of this stuff y'all saying is just like, whatever.
Oh, man. Yeah. That reminds me about the She-Hulk series. I watched, I don't know how many videos where people were talking about She-Hulk, and in the comic books, she breaks the fourth wall, and she's super sexy, and she's promiscuous, and all these things as part of her character. And like I'm reading this Savage She-Hulk omnibus right now, and I'm like 8 issues into it. I'm like, I haven't seen no promiscuity, I haven't seen no sexualization or anything. And of course, like I was kind of joking, but apparently it's in the other runs, the runs that I'm not reading. So
they don't want a She-Hulk comedy. They want a She-Hulk Cinemax soft porn show.
Probably so. But I guess we'll see where it goes. I mean, we did see her carrying that guy to the bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the trailer, but like I'm gonna watch it and give it a shot. Like it might not be for me, and that's one thing we gotta realize. Like they're doing so much shows and stuff now, like and doing different kind of characters. Like everything ain't gonna be for us. Like some things, like Ms. Marvel, that's gonna be for the kids most likely, and She-Hulk, it's gonna be for those people that like Seinfeld and stuff like that, Parks and Recreation.
Right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
But what's funny with the Ms. Marvel thing is, like, after watching Kenobi, after watching Kenobi 3 episodes, I'm like, I'm so looking forward to Ms. Marvel next week.
I mean, like, people think I'm trolling. Like, I'm really excited to watch that.
I actually am. And one of the things I've been saying is I really feel like Kevin Feige knows everybody kind of feels that way. So he's going to pack some really cool stuff into there to make you want to watch it as an adult, 40-year-old man.
Like I told you, bro, like, I always mention this. Like, I remember when you was playing the Avengers game, and she showed up on the screen with the arm trade. I was like, oh, shoot, that's cool. So like, that's how got me interested. So we'll see how the show, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it would be great if it was better than all the other shows they've done so far. I'd be like, I gotta hand it to you. Feige.
I just have a strong feeling it's going to get the kind of backlash that Obi-Wan got, and we know why.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe so, and I think they've kind of gone through some of that already anyway. So
yeah. Definitely, definitely from the trailers. Yeah. Oh my goodness, she mentioned she's brown. Okay, do you she's what is she? She's from Pakistan.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, you just know when, like, I'm not saying you have to hang around people that aren't white or whatever, but like you just know when people don't hang around other people.
Right.
Because it's like they're so shocked when someone mentions she's brown. Like I know a bunch of people from like Trinidad or India. They call each other brown all the time and stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
this is realism. Like,
Right.
come on, bro. It's not woke. It's just how some people talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But
Yeah, I hope it's good, man. I really do. I don't hope for stuff to be bad. Like, that's weird.
yeah, I was just saying that's the thing. Me either. I always want it to be good. I always want it to be good. Yeah, definitely.
It might not it might not be what I wanted it to be, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I didn't like Loki for the most part. But I didn't go into it like, yeah, Loki, you're going to suck, and I'm going to be so happy to tell everyone that it sucks.
Yeah, like me, I tried to like it, and I'm happy to tell everyone that Loki sucks.
I tried. Yeah, I tried. But, and the craziest thing is, man, about Loki. I know you're gonna wrap up, but like with Loki, someone mentioned like how the MCU Phase 4 is like so over. What's the word? Jumbled. It's like doesn't seem like it has a plan. It's all mixed up. And he was like, "Man, you just got to watch the last episode of Loki. They spent like 50 minutes explaining what's about to happen." I'm like, "Don't make me do this again."
Right. Yeah, and I was thinking about it too. Like that last episode of Loki is really the only episode worth watching. Like maybe the first one and the last one.
Right.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like I've been going through building more theories again here because I feel like I'm tracking some down here in this Phase 4 after hearing that Kevin Feige is going to be changing Namor to being an Aztec instead of Atlantean. And
so he's gonna be Mexican.
Yeah,
Aztec's Mexican, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it made me go back and watch Eternals, and as I was watching Eternals, there's just so many things that started standing out in that movie. I'm like, and it's one of the things like I was talking about when that movie came out. I was like, this movie it's serving the MCU, it's not itself, because this movie like stuff just happens in it, like kind of has happened in these past several films. Anyway, stuff just happens. But I'm like, there's the things that are happening in this particular movie. I
don't mean to cut you off. I'm just gonna say I'm glad we're on the same page right with that. Continue.
Yeah, stuff's just happening. But there's the things that were happening in that movie. I was noticing like there's like some of the stuff I started to notice when I was going through and watching. I'm like, I feel like this is leading on to more. With the stuff they did in the Eternals movie, because I like ever since I watched, I feel like it's serving the MCU, not itself. Everything that happened in the film, and I started picking out things from there that tied into like the Moon Knight. I think ties into Shang-Chi. I think is going to tie into Ms. Marvel and probably even other movies beyond that. Like I think one of the things I think I found, I did a live stream last week, was I swear maybe it was the week before that they did possibly hint at how we will get adamantium in the MCU. If it's not adamantium, probably vibranium. How vibranium came about. I'm guessing it's adamantium. Just off some stuff in that show, in the movie.
You mentioned they're going to change Namor. So isn't from Atlantean?
Mm-hmm.
Atlantis or whatever.
Yeah,
Isn't
Atlantis.
That's where they say what's his name? Aquaman's from too, right?
Right.
So I'm guessing that's probably why they're going to change him to Aztec, if that's true.
I think that's what Kevin Feige said. I think if I'm not mistaken, Kevin Feige came out and said that they were going to be doing that so they didn't get confused with Aquaman.
Okay.
Which I will call out as just bullshit. I think Kevin Feige lies through his teeth. And
yeah, that he does.
Yeah, I think he's just doing it because it was something they wanted to do, and he's just like, oh well, what will we blame it on? Oh, we'll blame it on Aquaman. Like, Yeah, Kevin Feige, somebody's gonna get Namor confused with Aquaman, but like, no, nobody's gonna get that silly movie confused with what they're gonna do in the MCU, unless they get Taika Waititi to direct it.
Don't get me started on him.
Yeah, no, believe me, I could go on for another hour about him.
Yeah, exactly.
I've kind of got a video coming up, someone about that too.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, got to capitalize on them views. You know, one of my most viewed videos is about to get a sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for being here, LB. Hopefully, we get together soon again, real soon.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Man, I've been talking all week on people's stream. I've been getting invited all week, man.
Yeah, all good, all the better for it. But yeah, man, thank you so much for being here. Everybody else out there watching, thank you all so much for being here. Make sure, if you're not already subscribed to LB's channel, make sure you go check him out. There is a link down in the description of this video where you can go check out his channel and subscribe. If you're not subscribed here, you should be. I mean, I don't know why I'd be sitting here on my channel watching me flap my gums if you weren't. Right. You all have a very good day. Have a great restaurant. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all in the next video. Later.